Scottish McNab challenge is to catch a salmon, shoot 2 grouse, and shoot a stag within a 24-hour period. And it's extremely difficult. On average, less than 10 people a year actually complete it. So it's not something to be attempted for the faint of heart. To have the best luck at it, you need about 5 days. Now, there are a few people that have done it day 1, but that's just pure luck. So International Sportsman brought 5 hunters over to Scotland to attempt the McNab. And this is kind of a bucket list item for me. I love Scotland. I love hunting here. When I heard about the McNab, I knew that it was something that I wanted to do at some point. So we brought 5 guys over here, and we're attempting to do this. Now, the odds are not in our favor. So we're going to have to work really hard. And I'm not sure that everybody understands exactly how difficult this is going to be, but I've been following this for about 10 years, and I know that it's definitely going to be a challenge.
This morning, we're going to get you guys set up on the range. We're going to get you getting used to the rifles. We've got a state firearms that you guys can use. Otherwise, we'll get everything set up. We'll get down to the range. We'll get rifles fired so we know everything's zeroed and you guys are all good enough, which I'm sure won't be a problem.
Here it is. All right, here we go.
How are people on their fly fishing and their spey casting? Anybody feel confident? Anybody?
We took a lesson last week.
So we can build on that.
We fly fish, but we haven't spey fished.
Yeah, it's not that difficult.
What we're going to do is we have to understand flow. It's just Skagit is it's really heavy on the front. That's where you have to start every time.
The salmon is the hardest part because salmon fishing in Scotland is kind of a bucket list for a lot of people, and it's very difficult.
But interestingly, we tend to find the salmon hang on like the edge of the depth, so they don't go like really down deep. They go in that kind of like that kind of 30 meters and in. So like they'll barely be deeper than probably 60.
And your timing is the key. Now, if it absolutely hoops it down with rain today, then we'll hit the river really hard first thing tomorrow morning. And that will likely yield a fish at this time of year. So salmon will have been coming into the river really since as early as April, May.
Out practicing casting by the master himself, and just practicing, learning how to get the fly in the right spot. Luckily, it seems like the river isn't too far, so I'm not gonna have to be doing these long bombing shots out there and whatnot. But keep it nice and short and keep it simple. I think that's the name of the game.
When the water's low like this and we haven't had a big river rise, we've got to be quite precise in our presentation of the fly. So we want that fly to land quite delicately because we'll be fishing small areas of the river, small pools or pots, where literally you might only need 4 or 5 casts to cover the whole thing. And if one of those casts is a big splashy thing that lands really hard, that might spook the fish. And we will in some cases, when the river's of the condition it is this week, we could be fishing literally for a single fish that we've seen, and we're kind of sight fishing too.
Monday, the first day of the McNab, the rifles have been shipped over, the shotgun has been shipped over, so we've got to get the scope onto the gun, get it zeroed. It's a misty, rainy day. Probably not going to be great for the salmon fishing, so it's a great day to get everything zeroed in, dialed in, before we head out and get really serious. So the next 4 days are going to be hot and heavy, trying to maximize all those daylight hours to complete the McNab. But right now, we've got to take it slow, steady, make sure the rifle's zeroed, make sure all of our equipment's working correctly, make sure that we get familiar with everything, the lay of the land, the tackle, and everything before we get very serious tomorrow. The bottom of the plate.
Is that a situation where, like, with the traditional bipod, you're like, right, who's got a pack? I need a pack. Well, give me your binocular harness. And all that movement, all that fat.
Right.
Yeah, you're trying to
And
get it
straight
right.
away, it's just like,
That is.
in there, bend it out, job done.
So I brought over the Beretta BRX in 308, and I've got the Stealth Vision SVL scope. So we've got an Italian gun and a Texas scope on here. So this is my first time actually behind this scope and behind the rifle. As you can see, it's a straight pull, so super fast. Much like some of the other straight pulls on the market, you can really get on it and work the action incredibly fast. Scope has a built-in level, goes up to 20 power, so plenty of power here in the hills. And like I said, it's in a 308, so plenty for deer. And we are in the UK, so we're using a UK silencer or moderator. But yeah, I'm excited to try this rifle out. And like I said, it's my first time behind this rifle and behind this scope, and let's see what we can do. So it doesn't say what the drop on this is.
But I'm going to say,
What's so appealing about this is the story behind it. Okay? You're not just here to get a thing. I think everyone's sort of in competition with themselves. I don't know if it's exactly like the triathlon, but you'll have people that are better at different lengths, and so you want to play to your strengths, but you got to be ready for all of them. You can't be the world's best biker and runner, but not really know how to swim. If I hit a grouse, I'll be impressed.
Over 90% of the estates have closed grouse hunting completely. That's due to the rains they had during the summer, and it just really devastated the population. So we were lucky enough to find an estate that would let us shoot grouse, and although there aren't high numbers here, there are grouse, and it is possible. However, this is going to be one of the toughest years to actually attempt it. What vehicle is going down the river?
mine and here.
So it is day 2, and yesterday no one achieved the McNab. We caught a trout, but it's also rained quite a lot. And today we're out early and we're looking for stag, or at least I am. I'm going to go from the other direction. The other teams, they are going to try and get their salmon first.
What we're doing now is just making sure that we spy everything that we can look at now that isn't in cloud. And from here, we'll then look for deer and try come up with a game plan as to where we're going to go and how we're going to stalk the deer.
The ridge below the ridge. So you have the top ridge.
Are we talking about in this low ridge here where the deer like to sit, or way
And there's
in the forest?
so there's the farthest ridge out there, then there's one in front of it.
If we can't see anything from here, we'll then head back down, along, up the hill, out to the west, and then keep doing what we're doing now and try pre-spy the deer so we don't have to go in blind. Failing that, we will just take an educated guess as to where to go. We've got a southwest and then moving into a westerly this afternoon, so we can kind of make an educated guess as to where the deer will be sitting in this wind. So those deer have moved west, further than I thought they would actually, but they're just moving into the next corrie to the west, and I'm hoping that they should settle into there, and we should be able to put a stalk on up the burn and into that group. So there's, from what I counted 100 deer, but there might be a few more. So it's a lot of eyes and a lot of ears and a lot of noses, but we've got good wind and the conditions are settling down nicely now. So hopefully those deer themselves will just settle down and we'll be able to put a stalk onto them.
So we're going to stalk, or we're going to walk up this hill here, undercover, and the thought is that the red deer are on the other side, and they had found a spot very smart for them, good on them, and there was no way around getting to them unless we crawled. I'd say about 500 yards. Probably crawled on our belly 100 yards. We walked like Gollum for 300 yards and maybe got to be upright for 100 yards.
We've just crawled through the bottom of the corrie. And as you can see, the spirits are still high. Yeah, I tried to make this stalk as miserable as possible for Eric, so he never comes back. But he seems to be loving it.
Yeah, more serious than normal. And get down, and you could smell the stags. And he took a look, and this is the first time I saw him sort of wave to Will, get the gun out.
As we moved in, just didn't like something, and I had no idea what it was that he didn't like. I don't know if the wind swirled or he caught just a tiny bit of movement or heard something that he didn't like.
Right now we're waiting for Sam to check out our position. What do you think? We're like 400 yards?
We don't decide what they do, so whatever they do, we'll try. I think that day was just like, nope, just not risking it. And it didn't run off like it's seen a human or was worried. It just kind of pranced off and thought, I just don't want to be here. And once that deer had gone, he just took the rest of those older stags with him. And then before we knew, they were about a kilometre away, just making their way into one of the corries in the west called the Rashi Corrie.
Ranger, you don't worry. You okay for now? It's good.
Day 3 here, we've got Larry and Brad up on the hill doing some stags, while me and Cody are down here on the river doing a little fly fishing, and we've got Eric out on the loch trying to catch a salmon there.
It's my first time in Scotland. I knew it would be beautiful. I didn't realize how beautiful it is. And then you come from America, you don't realize that everything here is older than our country. You can't look anywhere without seeing something that's 1,000 years old or 2,000 years old, and it's awesome if you like that kind of stuff. It's just a beautiful place to be.
It's a very challenging thing to do, which is the whole reason that people come to do it. Yeah, fingers crossed we have some luck in the river or on the loch, and then we can carry that luck forward into the other two species.
Oh, and listen, swans. Hey, you'll make it.
Just keep that knot in the water and I'll just like off.
That big enough.
Daily at the moment for a fish, and we've seen fish move in the loch. We're seeing fish move in the river, but it's a game of patience and some skill and a great deal of luck. And we've had another blank day today. We had a good hard knock from a salmon on the river, but that's as close as we've been. So, yeah, it is what it is, but it is not an easy job. And yeah, particularly not this week. Bit of wind, a bit of rain would really help us out.
They didn't expect the fishing to be this hard, which I knew was going to be the case, because that's the whole thing that everybody says about the McNab, is that once you catch the fish, then it's pretty much a go. But, you know, I don't think the other guys really knew exactly how difficult it was going to be. And so a few people have, you know, fished until about 2 and then kind of given up. But it's a game of patience, and you have to be out in the field, right? So that's it. It's just time on the water and time on the hill. Eric went and tried for a stag yesterday and was unsuccessful. I think that might have been a bit of a shock to him and to the other guys as to how the hill hunting goes, really. But that's why it's hunting, right? And this is a challenge. It wouldn't be the McNab challenge if it was easy and anybody could walk out here and do it. So you have to have luck, you have to have skill, and you have to have time and patience. And that's what I'm trying to keep up at the moment, is the patience.
Try something a little bit different. We might go for something a little bit heavier. That's a really small light fly. So we'll try something a little bit heavier and get down another 2 or 3 inches. They certainly want a bit of depth for this, like, water that they'll hold in. They'll generally sit in a bit of depth from 2 feet upwards, but we'll generally take them near the surface. We don't fish very deep at this time of year, because the fish are quite active, and we hope that we'll bring them up towards the fly. Should get away with a relatively light fly.
So I was working on technique there. My problem was I was making too big of a circle, throwing it back in the weeds, getting tangled up and whatnot. Sam gave me some pointers to keep it tight, keep it in front of me, and finish at the exact same point where I started before, and that really smoothed things out and helped make cast a lot smoother there at the end. So by no means an expert, but getting the fly out there.
Yeah, if we're lucky and we get a fish, what we'll do is we'll head up the hill. We'll take a rifle for the stag, we'll take a shotgun for the grouse, and we'll put a dog or two in the car. There's a fish just jumped downstream of us. We'll put a dog in the car as well, and we'll go for the stag. Hopefully we can put a stalk onto a stag, be successful at that as well. And then it's just a case of hunting our way off the hill looking for grouse.
Today we're going to go stalking for red stag. Brad and I are going, and Brad will be up first to shoot.
Just pivot a little bit of a change of game, just to, I definitely want to take a stag, so hopefully this will be the day that we're able to complete it all.
We're going to head out a little bit, and hopefully we'll be able to pull 2 off, because we're going 2-on-1 with the gillies and the stalkers. It's a long day of a lot of hiking, and we'll see how that goes. It's they call them hills, but they look like pretty big hills to me.
Day 4, and no one has been successful with a stag or a salmon yet. So everybody's a bit on edge, and they're vying for position as far as who's going where and what. You know, a couple guys are keen to get back out on the stags because they didn't have a shot. But, you know, there's 5 of us here, so we're kind of drawing straws for who does what and when. And, you know, yeah, there's tension building, and you can definitely tell that people are a little on edge today. I'm not saying that they're quite at each other's throats yet, but, you know, people are definitely feeling like they want more chances and more time, and that's what we're trying to suss out. So then Brad and Eric tomorrow morning.
So yeah, there's a little bit of pressure as to getting on the hill, getting the stag, trying to get your salmon, and nobody really even talks about the grouse, but, you know, if you get those 2, you still got that to do. So, and time is getting short. So everybody's pushing to get their challenges in.
yeah, I think we'll do our original plan, but we'll just do it on foot. Because I like the idea of getting some height today and taking a walk up a ridge called the Wallach. We'll get some good height. We'll be able to spy those deer a bit better and find out where they're actually sat in regards to finding the route into them. And there's also every chance that we might pre-spy deer as we move along the top of this hill in front of us. And it's also a nice deery place up in the rocks as well. So there's every chance we might go some way. And that can be, a plan A at the minute. We might turn that into a plan B, C, if things pick up as we move around. But yeah,
Sounds good.
that's good.
So we found a stag. Sam sure decide if he's old enough. So we're sneaking in about 50 meters at a time. Cut the distance, see if he's a shooter.
So we kept on moving around, down, up, and kind of how it goes here is you do the down, up thing, and then we finally got onto one older stag, kind of off by itself, and had about a 900 meters. That's where Sam first found him, and we closed that distance, much of that crawling through the moss and the bog, but got within 200 and had about a 40-minute wait for him to stand up, and so he stood up, just kind of waited for him to quarter either way, and as soon as he got where I could get a broadside shot, just took the shot. Everything went well, good shot. Had a little bit of drama towards the end. He went down in what they call a hag here, and it took us about 40 minutes to find him, but he was right there. So it's a really great experience to do this, and it's not what you think when you come over. You see the English tweeds and it looks all posh, but these guys are the real deal, and this is a hunt, not just a shoot. And if you're into doing something different, it's definitely worth it.
Great. What a good.
Actually, thank you. Relieved? Yeah.
That was a lot of work to waste an animal. So, yeah, I feel really good. I'm glad to have him. And he's worth even that much more now. You know what I mean? So I felt really good about the shot. I was calm. He stood up. He turned when he got broadside. Put him in the crosshairs. Popped him right where those guys told me to. And it was a great shot. I saw him kick. Got back on the gun, and
so that is what we would class as a good cull animal. It's an old animal that sat out here with his old mate, not wanting anything to do with any of the young guys or the females, and he's just hanging out here minding his own business, being an old man. So yeah, he's a really good animal to shoot, nice and old, and he's going back. His body condition at the minute isn't great. The deer at the minute should be in the best condition that they'll be in for the rest of the year. Perfect beast to shoot, and really happy.
So today's day 5, and I am out here, and it's my chance to go stalking. I have not caught a salmon this week, but I've caught a lot of trout. I've seen a few grouse, and we are out here giving it a go stalking. Now, we've had a bit of a late start because the clouds have just been hanging down over the hills all day, and so it's about 11 o'clock, so a little bit later start, and we're going to see how it goes. You have to know where the stags are before you make your approach, because you could bump stags and move them around. And so you really, really have to get a good look at them, see where they are, and then figure out an approach angle. You just can't go running all over the hills, because you'll just move things all over and you'll never actually have a shot at anything. So you have to do your scouting and take your time and actually put eyes on them before you create an approach.
We are ready to make our final push. 2 groups of stag. These guys are being very strategic about our approach, making sure we don't get windage, make sure that we don't get discovered. leaving us 2 opportunities to get stag. Jeremy and I will be shooters today, and hoping we're both successful in the outcome.
The right side.
So we just pulled the rifles out, and we were going to go right up over the top of this burn here. And right as we started to move, the wind shifted, we got winded, and they crossed right in front of us and weren't stopping. I tried to get up on the rifle, but they weren't moving too fast and weren't stopping. And then I said, quick, move over here. And the hinds were staying behind watching. We really didn't have a shot. So now what we're doing is just waiting for the hinds to move on so we can follow the stags. It was, we were winded and things moved too fast. And so had a great opportunity, but and by the wind moves against us, so we move on. A very quick moment, the stag that he had assigned me stood up, signaling that they were fixing to leave and run, and Sam signaled me to shoot. So I released the shot, and I got the stag. Fortunately, Jeremy was unable to take a shot, as his stag was still laying down when I took my shot. But very clearly, if I hadn't taken the shot, that no one would have got a stag, as they would have all stood up and left. You bring the skill, and you think that's enough, but it's not. It's about 90% weather, circumstances, being at the right place at the right time. It's just the classic, traditional gentleman's hunt. No guarantees. You put in the work. You hope you come home with something, and because it's possible to come home with nothing.
So everybody had their day on the hill, and out of 5 hunters, we got 2 stags. So that's about 50%, give or take a little bit. But the salmon was really the bottleneck. And I suspect that if we had caught a salmon and shot a stag, then the grouse would be the bottleneck again, because there's such low numbers. Now, the great thing is that pretty much every hunter that was on the hill actually saw grouse flying or kicked up grouse as they were going. So they are here, they're just in very low numbers. So even though it is challenging, and conditions and weather and the amount of animals make it even more challenging, it's not impossible. You can do it. And if you set your mind to it and you hunt hard and you work hard and you're up early and out late, it is possible that you can complete this challenge. And personally, I'm going to keep attempting this until I'm successful. I am not going to stop until I'm either too old to try it or I complete it, because this has been a bucket list item for me, and it's something that I want to say I completed a McNab challenge and be one of the select group of people around the world that have actually done this.